Spoilers for the whole of Deltarune. You've been warned. If you dig through the Deltarune code, every chapter comes with a file labeled unused. And in it, someone is calling for you. Where am I? Hello? Anyone? Is anybody out there? Someone? Anyone? Can anyone hear me? It's dark. When I was getting ready to play the new chapters, I ran into a problem. I had apparently reset, gotten halfway through a run of chapter 2, and forgotten about it. That's no big deal, I could just finish it up and move on to playing the new content. But as time went on, a few years-old theories began to pop back up in my mind. This is Death's Holiday. Actually, this is a placeholder sprite from Tumblr artist Hugh Cycles because we've never actually seen her, but she comes up a lot. If you don't know, Des is Noelle's older sister. As of chapter 3, her full name was confirmed to be December Holiday by Aunt Tenna. She's brought up by multiple characters, and at first I assumed she was just off at college, same as Asriel. After all, she'd be his age, and our families clearly grew up together, so maybe they went to the same place. But as people talk about her, it becomes more obviously wistful. Rudy keeps a doll she and Noelle made as a good luck charm. If the doll is brought up with Susie in the room, Susie will tease Noelle until she says it was made with Des, where Susie instantly pulls back. You solve a puzzle together while talking about Noelle's childhood, and the floor tiles spell out December. Characters talk about her like she's far away. Noelle wishing she could show her the moon in Cyber City, or talking about seeing horror movies with her and how that brought her comfort. Noelle even has a theme called Lost Girl, which could be in reference to losing herself, but also could be about the loss of Des and how that affected her. She presumably isn't dead. In the cemetery, there's no gravestone for Des, and considering she's the daughter of the mayor, it feels like if she had passed, she would have been buried in town. But there's a lot implying she's at the very least missing, and has been for a long time. In Birdley's flashback, he recalls competing in a spelling bee with Noelle. She was consistently faster than him until she choked up and couldn't speak while spelling, you guessed it, December. In her bedroom made from Queen's analysis of her search results, she has a calendar made up of just the date December 25th, which at first glance seems like a reference to the holiday theme, but users on Reddit suggested it could be that she was Googling Des's full name, December Holiday, repeatedly to see if there was news about her, which is heartbreaking. Carol also goes into a rage when she sees Susie handling Des's guitar, which puts her serious overreaction in a whole different perspective if that is her missing daughter's prized possession, and not just stuff left behind from her moving. Noelle says she just wanted to hear someone play it again. As always, I feel so bad for Noelle. So somehow Des is missing, and it's not a happy memory. It was bad enough that young Noelle couldn't bring herself to spell her sister's name on stage. We can assume whatever happened to Des, it was a catalyst event for both Noelle's family and Chris's own. When Tenna gives us a flashback of people leaving the TV, Des is the one to disappear first. Let's examine this because I think it's really important. Starting with the order of disappearances, Des leaves first. This could be assumed to be the day she went missing. If we look at these silhouettes, all of them are still quite young. Chris might even still be wearing their horn headband, if I was to guess from this backshot. Considering she had to have disappeared before Noelle participated in the spelling bee, I think she went missing when Noelle and Chris were children and her and Asriel were teenagers. Carol stopped coming to get-togethers immediately after, potentially throwing herself into her work to keep herself occupied without her daughter, or maybe still searching. Then we can assume Toriel and Asgore got divorced because Asgore is the next person to leave the shot. Then Noelle and Rudy stopped coming around. There was a significantly longer period between them going and Asriel leaving for, I assume, college, leaving Chris and Toriel alone. Now, I think there's a possibility that Des going missing was the catalyst for Toriel and Asgore's divorce. A lot of these ideas are theories based off half information, so I would absolutely love to see anybody else's thoughts on what they uncover. A lot of this still needs expanding on. But let's really consider these two. It was obviously not a loss of love. Asgore still routinely tries to woo Toriel with flowers and seems to genuinely care about her, though Toriel is trying to block him fully out. I know Deltarune is explicitly not Undertale, but I think we can still glean knowledge about these characters from their personalities in Undertale, because they're the same people in different situations. Toriel and Asgore were a happy couple in Undertale for a long time. In parallel to Deltarune, they raised a human and a monster together, until tragedy struck, they both died, and Asgore had to do something terrible, Toriel leaving him because she could not condone it. In that case, it was killing the humans that fell down. I don't think he's, a serial killer, but the idea that their relationship fell apart because of some profound tragedy is still there. Hear me out. What if Toriel thought that Asgore was responsible in some way for the loss of Des? In Chapter 4, you can listen to Asgore through the vents of Noelle's house, which he's cleaning. Apparently, he's been trying to prove something to Toriel, and he's tried before. We know that Asgore used to be the police chief, but lost his job due to an unspecified incident. We, the player, don't know what that incident was because when Chris finds an article about it, they avert their eyes, either because they don't like reading about it or they don't want us to know about it. Our soul listens as he talks to himself, saying that he has to concentrate now more than ever to settle this once and for all. He says this time Toriel will finally see what really happened, I assume in reference to the incident that got him replaced by Undyne. He says that he just wanted to protect everyone, and that they can all be a happy family again. So obviously he thinks their breakup was because of that incident then, if he thinks that clearing up this misunderstanding could get him back with Toriel, who seems to hate him. But then he says something else. It sure is beautiful, isn't it? This black shard. Hey Toby, what? A black shard is an extremely important item, because if you beat the secret boss in Chapter 3, you get a black shard of your own. And it is stated to be a piece of the sword of the Roaring Knight itself. So why does Asgore have it? Well, let's think about what he says. He just wanted to protect everyone. That has to be important, right? Well, where do we know that could be used to protect people from disaster and has links to both the mayor, who he's family friends with, and the police, which he used to be the chief of? The shelter, where we know a dark world is. At the end of Chapter 3, what is most likely the knight enters the shelter, and Asgore has a piece of its sword. So maybe the reason nobody's found Des is simple. She's not in this world anymore. Des is trapped in the dark. Let's go back to those files. In the next 3 chapters, there's more unused text, continuing from the first set I read you. I'm going to read all of what's left in order. It's so dark here. Someone, anyone, if you can hear me, say something, please? I guess not. To be honest, I'm not even sure if I can hear myself. It's so quiet here, and yet, sometimes, I swear I hear something. Something like scratching? What is this place anyway? How did I get here? As if I haven't asked that question a billion times already. I always did have that nightmare. Walking into the darkness with the light shining from the doorway. Then the door slams behind me and everything goes black. Is this that nightmare? Or was everything else a dream? I'm starting to lose track of time. Has it been days? Hours? If someone told me it's been years, I might believe them. Before, the sun came up, and so many wonderful things happened that made time meaningful. Things like breakfast or late-night TV. In this place, I don't eat or drink anymore. I can't tell if I'm awake or dreaming. I can't even tell if I'm dead or alive. It's just nothing but pitch black silence. Except for the noise. The scratching noise I sometimes hear. This sounds crazy, but even though no one can hear me, when I hear that noise, I feel like someone's listening. Anyone, if you're there, thank you. Oh, that is a lot. That's a lot. And it's not just in the files. If you speak to Spamton about fear, he'll give you a chunk of the Chapter 2 dialogue, arguing he didn't hear anything when asked about why he said that, but that it sounded like they were talking to us. So we can assume this is meant for our ears. Someone is really calling out in a way that's seeping through the edges of reality. Let's start with the most obvious possible points. First, in Chapter 3's chunk, the person speaking, who I will assume is Des, talks about a nightmare, of a door slamming behind her and everything going black. These doors look very, very slammable. In Chapter 4's portion, they call out late-night TV specifically, which enforces the idea it is Des to me even harder because of the scene I broke down earlier, specifically showing her watching late-night TV. And we know everyone else isn't stuck in an eternal void dimension. She also mentions that she doesn't need to eat or sleep, and that she's lost track of time. All things relevant to the Dark Worlds. Ralsei bakes but never actually eats it, implying he has no need to eat. food disappears from our stomach when we leave the dark world. We don't need it there. Cities crop up in a day of having been brought into creation, like the cyber world, so time is likely skewed in there as well. Ralsei tells us that dark worlds form when you're past the point of darkness, when there's such little light that your mind is forced to rearrange itself to make a new reality of what could be in the darkness. Maybe she's trapped between these worlds, somewhere in the shelter, stuck not in a dark world, but some sort of dark purgatory. And for that, we have the biggest piece of evidence yet. In Chapter 3, we have Room B, the Gacha Room. You can get items here, it's a goofy little side quest. But if you enter 1,225 points, 1225, December 25th, the gacha glitches, and you end up in this room, which I've heard people call the debug room. It's filled with carpets and paths, but you don't need to use them. Nothing here has collision. You just wander through this weird, unfinished void with no entrances or exits until you find a small blue gacha machine. Interacting with it gives you this text. Inside was something hard like lacquer. It was a small, dark triangle. You tried to take it, but it slipped through your hand. And you couldn't find it anymore. You couldn't find your hand. I think the object from the machine could be a guitar pick because of the link between guitars and deaths, the shape, and the specific color of lacquer, which is used on guitars all the time. The pick, symbolizing deaths, disappears. It slipped through our hand, we can't find it anymore. Not just the object, but the hand we reached out with, it's all gone. So we can no longer find deaths, she is missing. The room is endless and glitched, not quite reality anymore. Maybe she's in a place like this, missing in an in-between state. Now we're in the land of possibilities where I'm not quite sure how they connect, but I hope someone might find a use for. First, whatever is going on with the Roaring Knight's design. Looking at it, I see a couple things that feel important. These pieces on its head could be antlers or horns. This could simply be a call to the idea of a demon, but considering the shape, they're most likely antlers, especially looking at Carol's design. The hands have 3 fingers and are hoof-like. There's even what seems to be holes in its hands, which could be a callback to Gaster, but could also be a call to that text earlier about the pick slipping through our hands. The Roaring Knight has a lot of possibilities. Considering they seem to be a separate entity from Chris, even though we're actually literally a knight, it could be Carol, which I've heard thrown around, but I don't really think so. Some people are saying it could be Des, or some part of Des, lashing out in the void. But I'm not confident because the voice in the void seems coherent. If it is true, that could explain why Asgore has the shard, found in pursuit of her and taken from the monster she became. Also, I would love some ideas on what Chris's role here exactly is. Whatever Chris is doing, their conviction to do it is so strong they are knowingly risking ending the world. Chris seems to be very willingly collaborating with, at the very least, Carol, considering she seems to call out the soul directly with red text. And someone on the phone is giving them instructions. I don't know if I believe that Des is locked in the shelter, because Chris seems very intent on not going in, even shutting it behind Susie when she wanted to get in so desperately. Those aren't the actions of someone desperately looking for a way in to save their friend. Combined with the dialogue from Alphys earlier, they could be trying to keep whatever darkness is in that bunker in the bunker. At least until they're finished with whatever plan or solution they found for this problem. I'm not sure what Chris's endgame is, but for someone who clearly does care about their friends, I don't think Chris is doing this to hurt them. I'm just not sure what they're doing it for. If any of you have ideas, theories of your own, or if I missed anything, please let me know in the comments. All the best theories come from working together. Thanks to all the hard work of the people on Reddit coming up with theories, the Deltarune wiki for compiling the information, and TCRF for getting the files up for me to read to you today. Also, a big thanks to PachiiMochii for letting me use their playthrough footage for the background of this video. Go check them out if you want to have a good comb over, or if you haven't played the game but also want to experience it. For now, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and good night.